So here we have a video from TED Talks. Let's have a look. I'm going to sit down and smash in that Cliff Bar while watching this.
Camera with sad eyes and distended bellies. And in 6th grade, my Glee Club teacher, Mr. Collins, had us change the words in this song we were singing. 3 billion people in the world to 4 billion people in the world. And I was shocked. I couldn't believe that the population was so big. And I was even more shocked because no one else in the class seemed at all disturbed by this fact. And a couple days later, I told my friend Susie Hollander that because there seemed to be too many people in the world for it to handle, that I wasn't going to have any kids. And she looked at me and she replied that she was going to have 3. And I felt pretty alone in my beliefs. And 37 years later, I still feel pretty alone in my beliefs, and I'm still shocked that not more people are disturbed by population growth. And I think it's because, as a species, we've decided not to talk about it, to kind of tuck it away. So I'm here to untuck it. Modern man first showed up on Earth 200,000 years ago. And by 1850, we had reproduced so successfully, there were 1 billion people on the planet. That means it took 200,000 years for us to put the first billion people on Earth. The next billion came in 100 years. 200,000 years to get to the first billion, 100 years to get to the second billion. Now, we add 1 billion people to the planet every 12 years. And in 2011, the world population reached 7 billion people. Now, this surge in growth came about because of improvements in agriculture and medicine, because as a species, we are a biological success story. Survival of the fittest, we have survived. And we're also a religious success story. We have gone forth and multiplied. But now we have to stop, or it will be our downfall. And just to give you an idea of how fast population grows, Bangladesh had a hurricane that killed 139,000 people. How long did it take Bangladesh to replace those deaths with 139,000 new births? 2.5 weeks. Now, the world population is growing at just 1% a year, which might not sound like very much, but 1% of 7 billion is actually a big number. It means that every day we add 220,000 people to the planet. Every day. And this is unsustainable, which means that at some point the world population is going to stop growing. The question is, how? Will it stop growing because of famine, disease, a war over resources? Or will it stop growing because people choose to have smaller families? And by smaller families, I mean one-child families. And this is where people start getting nervous talking about overpopulation and population issues because they're scared that I'm going to take away their rights to have children. But I don't want to take people's rights away. I want to give people rights. Forcing people to have fewer children does not work. In fact, the fastest and most efficient way to stabilize the world population is to send girls to school and to empower women and to give everyone access to and education on birth control. And those are good things. And as a culture, we need to emphasize the benefits of having a one-child family so people will choose to have fewer kids. Because for thousands of years, we've been inculcated with this ethic that big families are happy families and only children are lonely children. Couples like myself and my husband Ian who have chosen not to have kids, we're childless instead of child-free. And myself, several times, I have been accused of being selfish because of my decision not to have children. And all this made sense when it was important for us to procreate for our survival. But now, for our survival, we have to not procreate. And we have to change and rewire our biology and our culture to recognize the benefits of a one-child family, because right now, mostly what we see is the negatives. For example, when a country's population falls, there's all this economic doom and gloom in the media because capitalism is based on eternal growth. Capitalism depends upon more and more consumers. So yeah, when population lowers, the economy will suffer, but it will suffer less than if there's no more oil and food and water, because there are 10 billion people on the planet in 40 years, which is what the UN is projecting. Now, you might be thinking, okay, this population issue sounds troublesome, but we should be having the babies. We're smart and we're educated and we listen to TED Talks and we can afford kids, and heck, our offspring, they might save the world. Even my mom says, oh, Alexandra, you'd be such a good mother, and your kids, they'd be wonderful. And they might be wonderful, but they would also be wasteful, because North Americans use 32 times the resources as someone from a developing country, so it's even more important that we have smaller families. For example, someone in the United States on average uses 176 gallons of water a day compared to the average person from Africa who only uses 5 gallons a day. And it's not just vis-a-vis poor countries either. We here in the United States, we use twice the energy as someone from France or England or Japan. So yeah, there are a lot of countries that have a higher fertility rate than we do here in the United States. But we all have to aspire to a one-child family, especially those of us living here. Maybe you're thinking, well, don't worry, Alexandra, technology will save us. And yes, it's possible that we might be able to eke a few more years of resources because of some new inventions or technologies. But in the end, even if we can feed and house 14 billion people, what would their lives be like? I mean, the population's going to have to stop growing at some point, so why not stop now instead of wishing that some invention or technology will save us that doesn't even exist yet and we're not even sure works? So for everyone to have quality of life, the number of humans on Earth needs to go down. And I believe that it needs to go down to 2 billion people, which sounds radical because there are 7 billion people on the planet today, but it's actually the world population of just 80 years ago. So let's change our idea of what the ideal family looks like. 1 is a beautiful number. And let's not be afraid to talk about overpopulation, because it is not about taking rights away from people. It is about giving opportunities to women, children, and future generations. And lastly, let's be part of the solution and choose from now on to bring forth no more than 1 child ourselves. Thank you.
Well, that's not going to fucking work, is it? You can tell, though, that she didn't really... Alexandra Paul, she didn't really say what she really wanted to fucking say, because these TED Talks are so pretentious, and they're basically little gatherings for the fucking yupsters and the hupsters and the hipsters and the too-gooders to just congregate around and just rub shoulders and just pretend we're doing something for the planet. That's basically what they are, really. I mean, Monsanto fucking's got massive stock in TED Talks, or owns it, or whatever. It's a lot of this shit, you know. The human race is fucked. We're fucked as a species, mate. The planet, can you imagine that? Did she say 12 billion? Or was it 10 billion? That was a lot of, I mean, I'm just like, a billion every 12 years. I mean, even my hometown of Adelaide, when I was first right up Mount Lofty in 1997, I'd look over, it's this dead, clear blue sky. And now, when I go up to clearest day, just pollution. And this is Adelaide, man. We're like, Antarctica's under us. We get southerlies most of the time, but we have this pollution, and I'm just thinking, fuck. And that's only like in 19 years, man. 19 years. It's gone from like crisp fucking teen to local like LA. You know? Well, not as bad as LA, but fuck, man. I mean, people are like, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. No. Humans aren't going to fucking do it, mate. We are a cancer on the planet. Most people with lung cancer and smoke cigarettes ain't going to quit smoking cigarettes. Most humans ain't gonna stop shit. Our egos are too big. We're like, well, I want the attention from my kiddies, and I want to do this and I want to do that, and do whatever the fuck you want to do. But let's just not pretend that bringing more children into the planet. I mean, can you imagine in 30 years' time, in 40 years' time, if there's 10 billion or 12 billion people? Can you imagine how much stress that's going to be to find a job, find a partner, find a house, etc.? I mean, most of my friends my age motherfucking struggle with stress and money. I'm child free. I've got no debt. Everything's motherfucking paid off. And I'm like kicking back, chilling. Most of my friends my age are under the motherfucking pump. And the ones who are under the most pump are the ones who got kids. These people out there thinking, I'm going to have a kid and it's going to be like a magical Hollywood, Hawaii Island picture. And we don't see what goes on, man. We don't fucking see what goes on behind the scenes. It's Instagram, you can smile. It's like, hey, man, this is really good. We don't fucking see people screaming at each other, fucking trying to rip each other's motherfucking head off. When you have kids, man, that is the hardest thing you can do. People can disagree with me, but they're still going to be motherfucking wrong. I look forward to seeing... I mean, here's the thing. A lot of people disagree with me. They're young. They're like teenagers or their early 20s. Harley, you're wrong. How many people have you... How many single mums or single husbands... Or not husbands. How many single parents have you dated before? I have. And I've seen the stress they go through every motherfucking day. Getting the kid to school, making ends meet, etc. How many of you people have actually no single parents? Like, no single parents. Not just like at coffee time, like hanging out with them. You know, spending time with them, sleeping at the house, etc., man. Alright? How many of you know single parents who do that? It's motherfucking tough. So a lot of these people who sit... People who sit at the bus stop like that on their phone, like, oh, is my hair okay? Is my makeup okay? These people aren't living in the motherfucking real world. You know, they're not living in the real world. And they're like, I'm going to have a kid one day and it's going to be really nice. And it's like... That's your fairy tale world. And I had this conversation and debate with a lot of my friends who are younger. You know, most of them I'm old enough to be their dad. They're young enough to be my son or daughter, and they just have no idea of what they're going to get themselves into. And I've had friends who've had kids, and then 10 years later go, "You fucking cunt, you're right." It's fucking hard, man. Some say it's shit. The ones who enjoy it say it's good, but it's not romantic. It's fucking stress the fuck out of a relationship. We don't have a sex life anymore. Our money's tight. We don't get to go on holidays anytime we want. It's responsibility. I mean, get a fucking dog. Get a rescue dog and walk it every day. Tend to it. That's a responsibility, man. And you get a kid, that's like 100 times more responsibility. Because you can't just go, I'm going to leave the dog in the house and I'm going to go off for the day. You can't do that. You can't just give your dog to your mate, look after. Or you can give it, you know what I mean? You can't just give your kids away for a month. I mean, parents do it. I mean, you got daycare. I mean, my mum used to be a daycare provider. Most parents just throw kids in daycare, go off to work, to get nannies. Jamie Oliver, just chuck his kids in private school. Pay someone else to fucking take care of them. I'm a really good parent. I'm going to see my kids on the weekend and I'm going to pay for someone else to fucking look after them. Great. That's not fucking parenting. That's commodifying, financializing parenting. So I'm a really good parent. I got kids for the photo. Come on, kids, fuck off. I'm busy. I'll do the other shit. That's shit. But that's the world we live in. It ain't getting any better. And people say I'm angry and arrogant and whatever, negative. I'm just being motherfucking honest with you. Because most fuckers out there wouldn't tell you the fucking truth. Because like that Alexandra Pole lady, they're too scared of being criticised. I don't give a fuck if you criticise me. I don't care if you disagree with me. You're still gonna be fucking wrong.